looks like we made it another year. This year I'm going to do something a little bit different. Usually with the 1 year videos, I tend to make them sort of like small thank yous, but I figured this year, it's been 5 years since I've started this channel, so why not make like a longer podcasty sort of thing. Maybe just like talk about the ups and downs of the years and, you know, how I feel about what happened this last year. Maybe provide some background info on my thoughts with a lot of the videos that were uploaded and all that sort of stuff. So if you're just here to check out the video, to see what's going on, I just want to thank you. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this next year will be good. I really do appreciate everyone who supports me in any way. And just like leaving a comment or doing whatever like that, it really does help. It does lighten my day to be able to know that someone's gonna watch my video, and I really do appreciate it. So, thanks. Alright, I guess we'll talk about all the stuff. Okay, so scrolling back into what we uploaded there at the 4 years video mark, I remember being really fresh off of the high that was that year of YouTube for me. The Valentine's Day 2018 video and, you know, going to see Cullen in Colorado for the first time, like hanging out in his house and making videos together was really nice. It was the first time I had ever experienced anything like that. I was fresh off of the high of, you know, making the tapes with Duncan, and, you know, getting called out by Jack's Films on Yai, and I was enjoying making the extras, and just like, you know, a lot of little videos. Some of them I look back on and I'm not a huge fan of. I think I could have done a lot better, but there's some of them that I'm really proud of there from the last year. And I think that's probably like, you know, the cowboy video of me yelling that's continued to be like a running meme or whatever. The Ibn Ob video was really great. Punchline, the Punchline review that me and Cullen did together, I have some really great memories with that. You know, I could talk about a lot of my favorites with these, because I think that last year I had some great videos. The Heat Signature video was one of my favorites. It was the first time I had ever really tried syncing up like gameplay to music and trying to make sort of like a hybrid video of what I'd normally make with like the just funtage, funny moments sort of thing, but with also going to the tune of the music. I tried doing that there with Heat Signature, and it was really fun. And then I did it with Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, and that's one of my favorite videos. It took me fucking forever to make, but I felt really good about a lot of my projects last year. And I like in the 4 years video, if you watch it back, you can definitely hear me talk about how I had so many ideas and plans for stuff I want to do, and I still sort of can recall a lot of those, and some of them, you know, I wouldn't be totally against, you know, trying to do now, but a lot of what I planned to do was immediately following the 4 years video, and a lot of it fell apart in some way just due to laziness and all that sort of stuff. So let's go video by video, I think. Extra Bikes was just it was another extra. I was really happy to put that out. I think that was the last extra I actually made. So yeah, the beginning of this year was sort of the last official extra that I made or have made in a long time. Maybe I'll go back to it. But I think around that time, I was moving from my dad's house to my mom's. And the situation, like the living arrangement in both places were, really different. Over at my dad's, I was often just kind of like hanging out in one room. And I think that sort of environment was like, it kind of drove me crazy, but it was a weirdly creative environment for me. Like, I felt like it was really easy to just turn on the camera and record something in that room, whereas for some reason it's been easy to get on the computer and record and do that sort of thing, but I never really felt haven't really felt the desire to get up and record something in this room. And I have space for it, it's just maybe like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you what it is. This year has been certainly interesting for me in that I felt like maybe I had some depression-y sort of stuff going on. And I didn't fully understand what was going on with that. I just knew that slowly my sleep schedule was just being absolutely destroyed. And, it was hard to remember things, and I don't know. I don't know. It was kind of messing with my head. Last year, I had like 59 videos that came out. 59 videos. So, I was uploading like a few a month, or I was going like pretty buck wild, uploading some stuff back to back. And this year it's been 24. So that's like that's less than half of what I did last year. So I went to the doctor, and I tried to get some help with it. And we got like my blood drawn and all that stuff, because it's always been, gotten like progressively harder to maintain some sort of normal sleep, and it's been progressively harder to eat food, and so we went to the doctor and we got like my blood drawn, and I got like put on medication and all that stuff, and it turns out that I had like a vitamin D deficiency, which doesn't surprise me at all. I don't go outside enough, and I think that if I could get myself to go outside, I would probably end up being like a happier person. So we got me on antidepressants and some like really high dosage vitamin D pills, and on those antidepressants, like the vitamin D pills, I felt like positive change immediately. Like I was like, holy shit, all right, I think this might have been my issue. The antidepressants were a little bit different. It became, I think I was like, I don't know. I became less irritable, and I've never been an irritable person. There would be times where I just, I'd come home and I'd be like, I don't want to talk to anyone. And so it became harder to snap or be sad or anything, but it also became harder to, I guess live in the moment and really take in the world around me. Like I have huge just chunks of time from whenever I was on those antidepressants that I just don't remember at all. So I decided, I think like a few months ago, like, I'm just gonna stop taking the antidepressants because I think they're messing me up. They're fixing certain things, but they're messing me up in different ways. And it also those antidepressants fucked with my sleep schedule even more, actually. So it was like it was easier to do some things, but it was harder to do others. And so I was just like, you know what? I think it was probably mostly a case of the vitamin D, and maybe it is a little bit of the of some sort of depression. I don't know, and maybe I need to find a new medication because I still You know, it's 4:33 a.m. right now when I'm recording this. And I you know, I'm still messed up in a lot of ways with regards to needing to eat food and needing to sleep and needing to go outside. But I felt a lot better since taking the vitamin D. I think the vitamin D thing really helped me out, and I know that if you have a deficiency in vitamin D, then it can affect, like, it can fuck you up pretty bad as far as your mood. And apparently, like, I've learned in my nutrition class that it's a pretty common thing among people nowadays. So if you're feeling, you know, down in the dirt, I definitely go to your physician and, you know, maybe figure that out for yourself. I'm trying to figure things out. I've never really had thoughts about suicide, mostly because I don't see death as like the escape that I guess some people do. I feel like the idea of non-existent, like not existing at all, isn't going to help you. I preferred to be like sad and messed up and in the moment than to be not sad and just I forget massive chunks of time. I'd rather be here and be present and you know, be able to actively think about how I affect other people's lives and how they affect mine and that sort of thing. So I think we should go back to going video by video. I definitely went off on a tangent there, explaining generally what happened with a lot of things this year, so I'll probably reference back to that. Ninja Pizza Girl was another one of those non-art thumbnail videos. I think it was one I remember feeling good about. Like, I didn't feel great about it, but I was like, this video's alright. La'it, I remember I think I was working on that before the 4 years video, but I can't remember. La'it is probably one of the crowning videos for me when I think about my videography on my channel, because it was me trying out something new, and I hated editing it. I was like, this fucking sucks. I'm so glad that I don't do reviews. But I wanted to prove to myself that I could do something, and then I did it, and I was really happy with it. Swords of Ditto, I think the video came out kind of bad, actually, now that I rewatch it, but I had a lot of fun streaming that, and I had a really good time playing with my friend. The Louis C.K. video, the most influential masturbator, I made that for class. So something you'll probably notice with a lot of these videos is that the driving force for this year with a lot of the videos wasn't actually, you know, me having this creative urge like it kind of used to be. It was, oh, we have to do something for class? Well, I might as well make it fun and make it a video and that sort of thing. So I had a fun time making that video. I think it came out decent. I got a 100 on that grade, which is nice. And I found the topic interesting just because, you know, I was a fan of Louis C.K. before he had his whole masturbation scandal and that sort of thing. And so I know a lot about the guy. I think I've seen every single one of his comedy routines. And I, you know, still to this day, I admire the guy's work. And I do rewatch a lot of his comedy bits because I genuinely find them hilarious. I think that if it hadn't been for school, I probably would have approached it from a different way, but I can't really imagine myself making that sort of video if it hadn't been for school. Pretty Girls Panic. Oh boy, I like that video a lot. There are no like edits in it that are crazy or anything, but I think that it came out really funny. So I was happy with that. The Flint Hook video I was pretty happy with. There are some bits now that I look at that I'd cut out, but I like that video a lot. Smack, that's one of the videos that I show a lot of people. That's kind of one of the main 3 memes of the channel, I guess, with that being the cowboy video, and then Smack, and then recently the actually, you know what, that was an extra that I made, the Popey Po video. Those 3 are usually ones that I show people. Gunpoint, I am disappointed in this video. I think the art is really fantastic. I really love what Jess did with that thumbnail, and I think the video fucking sucks. You know, maybe it's just my reactions to that specific game weren't good enough, but I think the reason that I mostly made that video was because I love Tom Francis's games, the guy who made Gunpoint and Heat Signature. You know, he has some really, really fantastic stuff in his library, and I'm a huge fan of Gunpoint. I don't know if it works so well as a video on my end. And it's probably, you know why it probably is? It's probably because before I recorded this video, I think I beat the game. Either that, or I played the beginning of this game in this video, and then I beat the game by myself. So I think a lot of the interesting stuff I played on my own, in quiet, not trying to be funny or anything. You know, which that doesn't exactly work if you're trying to make a funny video, I guess. Truck game, that was kind of like a surprise one that was way left over. That's like, oh god, that was 6 months ago. That was recorded like 6 months before we put it up, actually, the truck game one. And we still have some footage from that first trip of me going over to Cullen's house in like 2017 that we haven't edited or put up yet, and I don't know if we will. We may just scrap it. I may render it out or put it on Patreon or something at some point. I've always had this thing where I've wanted to make videos often, but I want to make like quality videos. Like I always feel like I need to have an art thumbnail for videos that I think are going to be really good, but then I'm like, oh shit, but then I'm not uploading enough. I've had multiple cases of just experimentation and trying to make types of, or like make formulas of videos that I think I can put out a lot, but then I try that and usually I don't feel good. Honestly and truly, I know that a lot of people actually watch the channel for the extra videos now. Those videos were only made because I don't use art thumbnails on them. I use like a Google image search. That's a case of it working where it's like a formula thing that I can make and I can put out often. They're actually like enjoyable videos and people seem to like them. And I've always wanted to do that with like littler games because I am a huge fan of indie games at this point. I don't know if you could tell. Pretty much all the games that I play on my channel are like indie games, which is weird because I do play a lot of AAA games, but I find it weird to record those a lot of the time. I tried doing this itch series where I look at games on itch.io, and if you look at those thumbnails, they really suck, and that's because, you know, I tried making them. The only one that I think looks decent is Pet the Pup at the Party. I was actually kind of proud of that one, just because I think it's the only thumbnail I've ever made that looked half decent. I'm sorry if this is totally uninteresting, by the way. I worked on making this itch series where I'd play little games from itch.io, and a lot of them I feel like if I had bought like an art thumbnail for it, it'd probably be like a waste of money because they're kind of just one-off games. And the thing about that series is that I think some of them come out okay, like not. I didn't think was amazing. I thought it was all right. Ambassador, I kind of liked Ambassador. Touch Melbourne was okay. Kimono I thought was bad. Run Far, I actually liked the Run Far one. Pet the Pup at the Party, Itch, that was good. And then I tried doing it with like meditations with tempers, and I think that video was kind of bad. But yeah, no, I tried sort of doing this thing with itch, and the problem that I have with those is that they just don't stand out to me at all. Like, I like being able to do these little indie games from itch.io, from these like little developers, but the style of making it formulaic just doesn't stand out to me. It looks like my fan kicked on, so if there's a fan in the background, I apologize. So, I made these itch videos, and I think they were pretty okay, but I'd like to do something that stands out a little bit more. And it sucks because I want to be able to show off these little games, but I think in a lot of their cases, an art thumbnail is probably best spent on a video that, more people will enjoy, which are probably bigger indie games, because it seems that everyone is sort of happy with the idea of me playing indie games. It's just that these itch games are like E-tier indie games, right? Like, they're super unknown, super duper vague. And then there's games like Nidhogg, which was another one of the videos that I made that I really enjoyed. And I got an art thumbnail for that, and I think that whole situation went pretty good. That was me going over to Cullen's house this last year in 2018 to record the 2019 Valentine's Day special and just do some other recording stuff. So we did Nidhogg, and we did like another one. I think that was like a hentai puzzle game that we are probably either going to scrap, or we might do something with like fucking years down the line or some shit. Then there was the favorite parts of every single extra video. I kind of made that where when I was feeling down about how the current state of the channel was, I wanted to be able to kind of like go back and revisit the days of sort of just putting on the camera and then just making something that I thought was funny. And so that video was sort of like a revisiting of simpler times, at least for me. And I enjoyed making that one. Then we had the Assassination of Lincoln school project. I actually really liked that video, but it was one of those videos that I only made because of school. And because it was like, well, if we're going to do this assignment, we might as well do it in the most fun way. Which is, it's fine, but it's not me thinking, oh, you know what would be good for the channel is if I do this thing. It was entirely motivated by getting a good grade in class, and luckily I got a good grade for that one too, which was nice. Extra Popey Po, that is one of my favorite videos. Actually, it's one of the 3 memes for me of the channel, which I am a huge fan of. I watch it a lot, and for me, there's kind of actually been this resurgence of creativity with these TTT videos. I got to gather up like a whole bunch of friends and just sit down, and we kind of made our own fun out of this game mode that, I had to sit down and make the server for and add all the mods into and add all the player models and all that stuff. So it's like a lot of preparation work behind the scenes, which is probably good for me, is keeping me busy and doing stuff. But we got to do like something fun with a bunch of friends, which is nice. And I think that people seem to enjoy those videos, which is also really cool. So I'm really happy with it. The only thing about those is that they're super duper hard to organize because everyone's just got their own schedule. Everyone has their own time zones. So we sort of figure out this whole time to do things, and then some people can't come, and then suddenly we don't have enough people to actually even record, so we just have 4 people sitting in a call, like standing around just talking, which is fun. I get to talk and hang out with my friends, but it's like we all sort of came here with the intention of recording something, and so now we're not recording it. and that kind of sucks. So we did one session of that with 4 maps, and then one of the maps I think I'm going to scrap and then maybe put up on the Patreon. We did, and so we have the 2 that came out. Blue Loses Mine was pretty good. You're Not Playing the Game Right. That's one of my favorite videos. It's super fucking funny. You should watch that one. And then we have another one that I think was the best video of that session. And then we have the one that I think I'm going to scrap. And that one was fine. It was just the map wasn't really entertaining. It was kind of shitty. Check out the Patreon, and then it'll probably be up there. Just maybe not all edited like the other ones are. And then that leads us to Valentine's Day 2019. It's a fantastic video. I think it's probably the best Valentine's Day video. It's by far the best Valentine's Day video, actually. Cullen really popped off with the cinematography, and our editing skills have improved a lot, both of us. So we were able to just kind of sit down together and come up with ideas. That was actually edited immediately after we recorded it. So we recorded it and then edited it all in one day, and it's like the most impressive thing that either of us have ever done. Which is just, it's kind of crazy because I've spent days doing other videos that just aren't as good as this one. So it was a really, really nice experience being able to do that with my friend, and I'm going to adore this video forever. All of the Valentine's Day videos are some of my favorite videos, so you should definitely check them out. And so now I think we're going to talk a little bit about, what was going on a little bit more behind the scenes, because we sort of went through each video, I guess, that I made and talked about my thoughts on it. Some pretty crazy shit happened. So I only uploaded like 24 videos, right? Yeah, it was 24. I have it on a little note to the side. Yeah, I recorded 24 videos, but this has still been one of the most eventful years of my life. I don't know if you guys know, you probably do, but someone that I respect a lot actually hired me, and I got my first job before doing that for him, and then I had to quit my first job to start editing for Chilled Chaos, who is my boss. And, we've had our ups and downs with that too. But, I've made more videos than the ones that I really have. So he still does a lot of the main editing on his channel. And now on the main channel, he does like sort of all of the editing. And so I was working at the movie theater, right? And then I'd go home after the movie theater exhausted, and then I'd edit something for him. And then I'd have to go to like the movie theater school again. No, this was during the summer actually. So this was like around 6 months ago, during like July and June and all that stuff. And then I was able to quit doing the movie theater. I sort of stumbled at first with some videos that people, weren't a huge fan of my editing style. I think the first video that I did for the main channel was probably one of the Bigfoot ones, Bigfoot Erotica, Finding Yeti Spaghetti Love. God, what a name, what a title. And most people were generally happy to see what I had to take to the table, but a lot of people sort of wanted something different, and in a lot of ways Chilled sort of wanted something different. So I would make videos for him, and some of them he'd be really happy with, but then some of them he'd be like, this this isn't enough for what we need for me to be paying for you to go up on the channel. And I totally get that. I definitely learned a lot of editing techniques doing stuff for the main channel, and seeing what he does and the detail and the care that he puts into those videos really gives me a lot more respect for him. And you should really subscribe to Chilled Chaos if you haven't already, because he's a good guy. So I edited a whole bunch of videos. I think my favorite one that I did for him was the storytime animation, Mr. Sark is Insane. People seemed to really, really like that video. It was one of the ones that did a lot better. Yeah, eventually it sort of got to the point where I think he wanted to edit his own videos on the main channel, and so he kind of hadn't given me work for a while. And then he was like, you know what, I want to start up Chilled Chaos Game again, which is his stream video, like, channel or whatever. So he paid me, he now pays me to do stuff over on that channel, where I just kind of like cut out the thanking of the donations and any technical difficulties, and that sort of thing. I know that he's had a rough year too. He talked about it in a video, and you know, I wish him all the best, of course. I think the happiest time of this year for me, because it's been a lot of you know, like, comparing it to last year, it's been a lot less interesting and satisfying for me. I think the happiest I was this year was actually around this summer, where I got to go to RTX, and you know, it was on that trip that he actually hired me, and so, you know, I was fresh off of the high of that, and then I go into RTX, and it's the first time in my life that I've ever been surrounded by friends. We had a big crew of like friends, and we all sort of like knew of each other, and if we didn't know of each other, then we introduced each other to one another, and we all became like pals. And so it was this sort of situation where we had this whole group of friends, and we would meet up and all that stuff, but we would have little groups split off from one another to like do other stuff. And so I got to split off with certain groups and certain people that I've talked to less, and then people that I've talked to more, and we've had experiences like one-on-one, or like, you know, like going back to the hotel and watching anime, which was really great. You know, like walking to a spray painted wall or whatever. It's the first time in my life I've ever been in a city where there are a lot of things to do, like Austin, just surrounded by friends like that. And I sort of see that with what Chilled and a lot of the Derp crew has done with moving to Texas, and, you know, just all being buds and hanging out in the same area. And it's really something that I look at and I'm like, that's my goal in life, is to be around my friends like that, because it was probably the best time of my life. And I'm super excited to go again this year to RTX. I don't know if we have as many people going as last year, but I had a really great time. And if any of you guys actually are listening to this and go to RTX, then I would love for you to shoot me a message on Twitter or say something in the comments, and we can like meet up and hang out or something like that. You know, and then there's stuff that we've done on Losers Play. We sort of tried to bring it back, I guess, a little bit. So me and Cullen started playing Skyrim, which is a lot of fun. And I think there's some really great moments with me just kind of being there in the background, and me and Cullen just talking shit that were a lot of fun. There were a lot of, and then like the Left 4 Dead 2 video is one of my favorite videos of all time. There's another part that I may never edit, but I had a great time with that. And then there's the fucking Five Nights at Freddy's thing, which is on its own something insane. So there was some cool shit that did happen this last year. It wasn't all bad. I think generally I did enjoy last year more. But, you know, this year has had its peaks and its valleys, like every year. There's just less to look back on, I guess, this year and think of fondly than I think of last year. You know, I've really got to thank some important people in my life. Just, you know, all of my friends, and, you know, especially, like, the people on Patreon who actually... you know, care enough about the YouTube videos to want to pay me every month, which it's an insane thought for me, especially, SeductiveCrab and Jesse. I think it's Jesse Games, but yeah, I just call him Jesse. Those two have been immensely supportive for the longest time. I'm blown away by why they're still even supporting me like that. They really make the channel something that I can run, and I don't have to spend all of my own money on. The YouTube channel is a net negative as far as my income goes, but I'm more than happy to spend my money on it, and for them to be okay with sort of alleviating it a little bit, even whenever I'm feeling crappy and I haven't uploaded anything for months, it's insane to me. I'm like incredibly so grateful to know you guys and to have you as friends, and thank you so much for helping the channel and for helping me with that stuff. And thank you to the people who really make my life worth living. Like I don't, Duncan has been crazy supportive throughout every year, and he gets me to talk with him all the time, and sort of brings me out of my loneliness, I guess, for a little while, which is nice, and I probably need it. And thank you to my friend Hayden, who we hang out every week. He really does make life feel worth living at times, especially whenever it feels like all of the people who I want to talk to live miles away. It's so crazy refreshing to be able to have someone tangibly and physically in front of me. And that's why experiences like RTX and being able to meet people in person from online are so important to me, is because oftentimes I feel kind of lonely, and it leads me to talk to my friends less online, which makes me feel lonelier, which is just a spiral downwards. And that's why the whole goal for me with living is to make sure that I can be around people who are important to me and people who make life worth living. It's insane what hanging out with some pals can do to my mood after I haven't been hanging out with someone for a long time. And oftentimes I spend, weeks just living off of the high of the happiness of a certain experience. Prime example, with the TTT thing, I've been living off of the happiness of those memories that we made on that night for a while now, and all of the the streams that I did with the Game Awards and playing Jack in the Box with Crab and talking to people and putting myself out there. It really does make life worth living, I guess. So I'd like to create more things, but I'm sort of stuck in this rut of, how should I do it? And there are times where I just feel a lot less entertaining, which is something that I didn't used to really worry about. And I still can sort of convince myself not to worry about it, but it messes with me sometimes, and it's messed with me a lot more this year. This year has had a lot more downs than a lot of other years, but it's also had insane moments of happiness and, the highest peaks of my life that I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life. And so I think I've been blabbing on long enough. Hopefully I edited enough of the babbling out, or I came across as somewhat coherent. Thank you. I don't know. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry about the no jokes. I'll have more jokes next time. Next year, I'll have all the jokes. There'll be so many jokes. A bag of jokes. I'll be shitting jokes. You'll be shitting jokes into the same pile as my shit jokes. Okay, goodbye.